and welcome to my Gainer Flash tutorial. If you're someone that finds a tricking aerial easy, then method 1 is probably the method for you, and if you're someone who's much better at back tucks, then method 2 will be easier for you. If you're someone who can do both of these things quite well, then I'd recommend learning through method 1, as this will teach you not only how to gainer, but how to control your inversion in the move, which is going to be extremely useful when you come to variate it. So for method 1, you can go through all of these progressions from any setup you want. Whatever your most comfortable setup is, I recommend using that. If you don't have any setups, then J-step is probably going to be the easiest for you to learn, as it's just a step. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown on how to J-step. Start with your plant leg in front, step out onto the swing leg, arms come back, and then you're going to jump forwards. So make sure it's not a step, it's a jump onto your plant leg, ready to swing. When you do that final jump, you want to turn just under 90 degrees, as that way when you swing, you'll turn into that 90-degree takeoff. So my foot, just under 90 degrees. So step 1, you're going to do J-step into this. I'm going to land facing the same way I started off facing. My leg's going to come up, I'm going to go as high as I can. I'm just going to do that 360 spin and land on my swinging leg. Very simple. The exact same thing, but this time as you take off, try and look at the floor over your shoulder. So we're still just doing that 360-degree turn back onto our leg. But we're just looking down a little bit. That's going to start to get you the first feel of your gainer. You're going to try and get your head down to hip height. That's going to be the main change here. You're already looking at the ground when you take off, but now don't just look at the ground, try and get your head to there. This is where it becomes quite closely related to your aerial, as your leg's going to come up, your head's going to come down to hip height. So it should feel somewhat similar to that. So for step 4, the big change we're going to make is what we do with our hips. You're going to try and push your hips forwards as you swing. That's going to give you a lot more flip and more extension through your swing leg. As if my hips are back, my leg gets to there. If my hips come forward, it can get much higher. So it's going to give me much more power into the flip. You still want to look over your shoulder. You still want to try and get your head down to hip height in the takeoff, but you're really focusing on pushing your hips straight forwards as you take off. A couple of things to remember are to make sure you finish your J-step looking at the floor in front of you. That's going to make sure your head and chest are over your leg, not already leaning backwards. You want to be able to throw your head and chest through this range of motion in the takeoff. That's going to flip you. If you're already up here, you're just going to go straight down into the ground. So make sure you finish the J-step in this position. Try to push through the balls of your feet in your plant leg. You want to make that takeoff fast. If your takeoff's too slow, you'll lose all the power from your step, and it'll be like you're doing a gainer like this, which is going to be a lot harder. It's a lot harder. You can pretty much already do a gainer. What you did in step 4 would be classed as a gainer, but to make it even better, instead of looking over your shoulder, just try and look straight over your head. That's just going to help you to flip that little bit more, get more of an arch in your back, make sure your chin's lifted, and it's just going to help you to do a pretty much fully inverted gainer. If you're struggling with this, it's probably going to be down to your hips. Most of the time when I see people finding this hard, it's because they're swinging, but their hips are still sat backwards. Make sure your hips go forwards with that swing leg and look straight over your head, and you shouldn't have any problems getting round if you've done the previous steps. This time you're gonna learn it from a back tuck, so you should already be able to do a standing back tuck before you try this method. The first thing we're gonna do is a J-step tucked gainer. So out of your J-step, you're gonna try and swing with your knee. So don't think about fully extending that swing leg right away. Just try and lift your knee up, lift both of your elbows up, and you're gonna set just like you would in a normal back tuck. From here, you should be spotting in front and then tuck. And it should feel pretty similar to your standing back tuck. As if you can finish your J-step and quickly push through your toes, the J-step's gonna act kind of like a round off. That setup's gonna give you power. You're gonna block the momentum from that step into height in the gainer. If you stop on your leg and try and jump, you won't get anywhere near as much power. So for step 2, we're gonna do a very similar thing, but instead of tucking after you hit that position, just try and go into this position. Like, they call it a pucked position in gymnastics, where you don't tuck and you're not straight, you're just kind of like this. Try and do a gainer going round in that position. There's not too much to think about with this, you're just gonna try and keep your core really engaged to help pull you round. Next, we're gonna try and turn this into more of a gainer layout. Now the key to this is gonna be your hips. As you swing, don't think about swinging with a bent leg anymore. Allow your leg to extend in the swing and push your hips forwards with that swinging leg. What that's gonna do is give you more flip, but it's also gonna allow you to have more of an arch in your back. As when your hips come forwards, what does your back do? It does that, it arches. If your hips are sat back, you can't arch. So make sure you push your hips forwards as you swing. Your arms are gonna come up into your shoulders to help pull your body into even more of an arch position and give you more height and more of a flip. So they should swing in time with that leg, and you're gonna try and see the ground straight over your head and try to straighten out your body a bit. This doesn't need to be a perfectly straight gymnastics layout. Just try to go around in more of this position rather than this position. When you're comfortable with that and you can land it easily, you should be able to try a gainer flash. It's really not much harder. It's kind of easier, if anything. As for this, you can swing with that leg, and then you don't need to come into this position and force yourself round. You can just keep swinging. So as you take off, hips forwards, leg swings, keep swinging that leg all the way to the ground. It's essential that you push your hips forwards, lift your chin up and spot over your head. As if you have that arch in your back, you'll be able to separate your legs much further than if you're like this. And the wider you separate your legs, the less of a flip you have to do.
Look at the position of my chest in the takeoff and the position of my chest in the landing. If this was a full 360 degrees of rotation, then they'd be in the exact same position. As you can see, it's quite a long way off that. My chest has only done just over 180 degrees of rotation. Whereas if you look at the takeoff and landing in a standing back tuck, you'll see there's actually much more in-air rotation.
If I push my hips forwards, my leg's gonna come higher. And as my legs are separated further, my leg's also going to land sooner. This is what makes it so easy. This is what allows me to land a gainer flash, even if I'm this low to the ground. So now you've got yourself a gainer flash, but you're going straight over the top. This can make it hard to combo into other moves and hard to variate it, as you'll be landing like this, very straight on. It makes it hard to turn and keep going, makes it hard to swing your momentum around the side into another trick. So if you want to pop out of your gainer, you want to rack fall, or anything like that, you're going to want to go a little bit more around the side. This is also going to make a huge difference to variations, as you won't be able to do a gainer semi, gainer hook, gainer scissor. All of these things require you to go more around the side. So how are you going to change that? It all comes down to your spotting. you're gonna do the exact same thing, but as you're swinging, see the same spot on the floor over your shoulder all the way through. What that's gonna do is force you to drop that shoulder as you're swinging, which is gonna force you to come more around the side rather than straight over the top. This is a really simple way to reduce your inversion. You might try it and really struggle with it. You might find yourself landing with an extra half twist and falling down, or twisting out of it with no control. This is going to be down to what you do with your hips in the takeoff. If my hips are sat backwards when I swing, if I look to the ground, then I'm going to start to do more of a twist in my gainer, and I'm going to end up, in fact I'll show you what happens. I'm going to end up turning, doing a full 180. So to stop that, I need to push my hips forwards, as if I push my hips forwards, my body can't turn as much. My hips have already given me a lot of flip. I'm going to be extending through that leg more. It's just going to reduce the amount that I'll turn in the movement. I recommend learning how to do this. Even if you like fully inverted gainers, you should learn how to do it more around the side as well, as it's going to be really useful for a load of different tricks and combos. So now you can do a gainer flash. How are you going to make it as nice and as easy as possible? The first thing I want to talk about is something I mentioned earlier. If you push your hips forwards and get more leg separation between your legs, then you'll have less of a flip to do in the air. This is really key to gainer, so the more you practice leg raises, the better your gainer's gonna get. If you can separate your legs really far apart, then you'll have barely any flip to do in the air. Next thing, arms. As you're taking off, you're gonna swing your arms up into your chest. I've mentioned this, but if you wanna do a floaty gainer, you wanna do gainer as high as possible, maybe it's at the end of a combo or you're just doing it by itself. Instead of pulling your arms into your chest and using them to help you arch and whip backwards, try and bring your arms all the way up to shoulder height, but keep looking in front as you swing your leg. That's just going to make you flip slower but go higher in the air, should you want to do that. If you want to go lower and faster, maybe you're trying to do a wrap full out of it, then you're going to do the opposite of this. As you're leaving the ground, you're going to already have your arms in your chest, pulling you backwards, your chin lifted. You could even be looking at the ground before you take off. This is going to make your gainer as low and fast as possible. To make your gainer look especially nice, try and keep your swing legs straight with pointed toes all the way through. And after you leave the ground, think about pulling your plant leg backwards. This is going to separate your legs as much as possible to make it look really big and impressive. And I already touched on it earlier, but make sure you don't have too much contact time on your plant leg. You want to be pushing through your toes as quickly as possible. Pay attention to how much my plant leg bends in this example. I'm just pushing through my toes as quickly as possible out of that setup. I'm not bending into my leg and jumping. This is really important for getting power from any setup into any swing. So make sure you're aware of this when you're training. You're not going to be able to do it super fast straight away, but if you keep it in mind, then over time, your takeoff will become faster and faster. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it helps you with your gainer flash. It's a great base trick for a load of other tricks, so this is going to be something that you're always working on. So I recommend having a couple of focal points in mind every time you train it. Even if you can already do it, even if you've been doing it for 5 years, try and find something that you could improve on, and keep that in mind every time you train it. That way it's just going to keep getting better and better. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you next time.